Hey y'all, this is Cyber Saloon. So today we're going to be going over a redo of The Healer, episode 5. And this episode does a really good job, kind of like the last one did, that Keyaru is very much not a good person, that he is very much a villain. And you see in this episode especially, he's extremely manipulative over others. Like you kind of see it with Krylet in this episode. And we see at the very end how much that's about to bite him in the ass. Like before we even get to that part, I mentioned last episode that was a massive misstep for not like killing that commander, because I didn't understand how he wasn't gonna see this coming back to bite him in the ass. But maybe he figured they would have killed him and whatnot, let him live. But we start off the episode. We see Krylet. She's like walking through the Imperial capital, and she notices some people talking about how like someone massacred like a big group of soldiers that were at the Issie clan village, and that the technique that they used was Krylet's, because Krylet is easily the best swordsman and probably offensive hero that the Empire has. And when you see this later in the episode, she's like crazy, stupid, strong. And she overhears this, and she obviously sets out on a quest to go find Keyaru. Then we cut back to Keiru's group, and they're like having like a nice little kind of like beach episode moment. Well, it's by the river, but whatever. So you see Setsunu go, and she just starts throwing salmon out of the river, and like Keiru kind of mentioned she's kind of like a bear, and then Freya's just like, I don't know what she's doing in the water. She's like in a dog position, just like a deer in headlights. But Keiru's like, I'm very horny. What should I do? So he just goes up to Setsunu and just like, okay, just like starts like having sex with her, and she's like, oh no, it's the day, we're in the daylight. I mean, Keyaru doesn't give a shit. I'm like, what an absolute Chad. So they end up having like a threesome. I think he ends up having sex with both and Keyaru. He ends up having sex with Setsunu and Freya basically at the same time. So I initially watched this on High Dive, and it's so funny how they censor things. Like you kind of see it, like, the first kind of really noticed in episode 2, what they'll do, like, they'll go to, like, a long shot, like, so it didn't show basically much of, like, all the shit that went down in episode 2, like, they, like, edited out all the noise and just kind of went to, like, a frame of, like, a fireplace, like, in episode 2, but they never really showed much. And in this episode, like, when he's having a threesome with Setsunu and Freya, like, it just kind of, like, cuts to, like, the little, like, dinosaur-looking dragon, like, mount that they have. And it just shows him resting, but it doesn't show like any of the sound effects or any like or show anything, which is really funny because when I go and watch the uncensored like episode, like it's like night and day. Like he's just clapping away at the cheeks, and it's like this. It's basically like a full hentai scene. Like it's kind of crazy like how much they edit out, but obviously always watch the uncensored version because that is very much the true version. So they ended up going back in town to that one city where like all the they were having that issue with like the carcass that was in the water supply, and obviously they took it out and got all the poison out of the well. But they ended up going back one last time to go collect what they're owed by like that merchant guy Goldman. And so this soldier's like an absolute dumbass. So like we see like one of the, like someone who like, seems like they're just like a homeless guy on the street. He tells like Keyaru's like, hey, I'll buy that like that ice wolf like girl off you for like one whole like gold piece. And I'm just like, dude, like, you know, for someone who just got away from an absolute massacre, and there's no way he didn't see like Setsunu just like tear through like hundreds of people like their paper. It's just like, was that really a good idea to like give away your hand like and even say anything at that point? Because like I don't know, maybe he just didn't recognize them because they were in like the hoods, but definitely a bad move on his part, and it comes back to bite him in the ass really bad. We end up seeing that like he tries to go after Keyaru, which you know that's not obviously going to end well. Setsunu just like basically puts him in a hold, and they end up finding out he's an Imperial soldier, and Keyaru is like, all right, well, we're just gonna kill you. And then obviously Setsunu just like cuts him in half, like obviously, you know, that's about what you expect. So after that, they go and meet with the merchant, and go figure, plot twist of the century, the merchant ended up betraying them. Who saw that coming, right? Like it's just like, so he has like a bunch of high-end investors who like know that he's got this potion, and like because of that, like he like is trying to like threaten or strong arm Keyaru into like giving him the full like ingredients of the potion. Like this was just like a dumb idea to begin with. It's just like he could tell like when they first initially had this meeting like how stupid strong Keyaru was in the first place, but he tries to strong arm him. And this is part kind of like this part was kind of weird. So the merchant mentioned like, oh, like, you know, like you wouldn't do so. You're strong, but you wouldn't do so well because you would have to protect them. I'm just like, dude, like Sesnu could easily kill everyone in that room, and she wouldn't probably even break a sweat doing it. Like she's not like probably at her max peak right now, but I mean, God, if you saw the last episode, she killed like hundreds of soldiers and was like having fun with it. And Freya's is more like an AoE type attack. Like it's not like good if you're fighting like a bunch of like close in, but I mean Freya could easily burn most of those motherfuckers to a crisp. So I can't imagine she would have that much like trouble dealing with them either. But Keyaru, this is where Keyaru's like I'm starting to kind of hate him at this point. He's becoming kind of a dickweed, and it's just like he's like, oh yeah, like I would sacrifice both of them if I could kill every one of you. I'm just like, that's a shady comment. This isn't the only one. Prior to when he was talking to that soldier, he was like, oh, like, if you bring me 1,000 gold pieces, I would sell her to you. I'm just like, that's a shitty comment to kind of make about, like, one of your companions. And I'm just like, and Sesanu smiles. I'm just like, these broads have, like, they have freaking Stockholm Syndrome, dude. Like, I love both of them, but it's just like, my issue, Keyaru's like going off the rails to where he's just a douchebag. It's just like, and obviously you could argue that like he was like that earlier, but it's becoming annoying now. It's just like, all right, man, like, you know, it's just like you're really becoming like not any better than like the people you're trying to bring down nearly at this point. And it's just like I think he needs to be humbled like really bad. Like Keyaru needs to be humbled. Like he needs to remind he needs to stop top of reminders, like, okay, like, if you're doing this to make a world a better place, like, but you can't, like, be a complete, like, asshole at the same time. Like, it's good that he's, like, a villain who's, like, who's willing to, like, cross lines. He's not gonna be, like, one of these, oh, my God, we need to find, like, common ground. I'm gonna make you my friend. Definitely not that. But at the same time, it's just, like, he's not likable as a main character right now. And it's just, like, I honestly hope that gets better. But, yeah, because, like, it's just weird he even said something like that to begin with. So, he gyps the merchant out of the gold. So, the merchant's an idiot. He's like, Keyaru, like, tells him, like, the formula. And freaking, like, the merchant's, like, all happy, but, like, for 500 gold. But Keyaru's like, you know, it's not going to work. We already solved the problem because we took that carcass out of the water source, and at the same time, like, he needs my blood and my antibodies to do it, which he doesn't have. So he basically just got gypped out of 500 coins to help cure a sickness that's going to go away anyway because the water supply is it's not poisoned or spoiled anymore. So definitely big art of the deal move by Keyaru. I respect it. It's completely screwed over that merchant, but like he completely deserved it at this point. So Krylet comes out of nowhere like freaking John Cena and just like cuts his face. I'm surprised she even got the cut because Keyaru has her ability. So I guess he got caught off guard, but I mean still like he's so brokenly overpowered. I was surprised she actually even got a cut on him, but she does. But they start talking. She's under the illusion that the Empire was defending that village instead of like raiding it for sex slaves and other types of slaves. Like, look, they probably make the men like warrior slaves and end up making all the girls sex slaves. I mean, you see in a minute we'll go over that because Keyaru kind of shows her like what the Empire really actually does. But so she ends up bringing a comment which can be kind of argued. Like she brings up that he's manipulating both of you and just using you, which is completely true. Like we see in this episode, Keyaru is he's like a manipulative snake. Like he really is. Like and we see this like right after she like tries to tell Freya and Setsunu that like this guy is not good, like he's manipulating you, which he is. And then we see she ends up knocking out Freya because Freya tries to toss a firebolt at her. She knocks out Freya, and this is what I mean. Like Keyaru is like becoming unlikable. It's just like, you know, he's like, you hurt my property. I'm just like, what the hell? Like it's just like, dude, like chill, like you need to be humbled. Like again, like, you know, I like the series, like I don't hate Keyaru, but it's just like I thought that after episode 2 he would kind of like, you know, on the path of like he's like like you could still like villain, but like he's just going after and killing like all the people who like wronged him and like toppling the Empire, but like he's actually like a good friend or like a good person to the people who are helping him. But it's like it's not even the case here. It's just like that's what I mean by he's becoming kind of unlikable. Where it's just like at some point it's just like I was rooting for Krylet to actually kill him. It's just like because he is not a good person, but he's not and I'm not like complaining. He's not meant to be a good person. He's a villain, obviously, but it's just like it seems like he's becoming worse. Like I would, after like getting rid of some people, I felt like maybe he would get a little better, not in the like, oh, we're gonna like be friends type of way, but in the way that he would kind of lay off of like the edgelord kind of shtick that he's got going on right now. But that's not at all what's happening. So this dude, like, they obviously start fighting, Krylette and Keyaru, and, like, obviously, like, he scans her, and, like, she's stupid strong again. I think she's the strongest hero that the Empire has, like, over, like, in terms of offensive capabilities, because Krylette's just stupid strong, and she's, like, stupid fast as well. They end up fighting like crazy. Freaking Keyaru over here is, like, he's, like, doing the rogue moves. He's, like, just tossing knives at her everywhere. And this motherfucker, like, he throws a freaking aphrodisiac at her. I'm just like, oh my god. Like, it's just like, man, like, who throws an aphrodisiac in a fight? Like, again, like, at this point, like, Redo the Healer is basically just hentai, like, a dark hentai fantasy plot at this point. Like, and then, like, he ends up, like, they end up doing like, this, you know, final duel type of deal, and then, like, Keyaru ends up taking off, not Keyaru, but Krylette ends up taking off one of his hands, and obviously he just grows it back, no surprise there. But he does, like, I guess he hits her with a Vulcan mind meld, and then he basically shows her what the Empire really does. Like, that's what I mean. It's just like, Keyaru's trying to overtopple these people who I'm surprised are a lot worse than he is. Like, they're, like, just raping, like, all these, like, demi-human, like, women, and, like, all the rest of them are just, like, hung on trees and shit. It looks like something out of 300, like, when they come across that Greek village the Immortals hit. Kind of similar to that, like, some pretty dark stuff. They're, like, butchering random innocent civilians, and, like, Krylette's like, oh, shit, like, you know, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know if this is really going on, so he kind of encourages her to, like, you know, you should probably, like, look into it a little bit more, what's really going on in the Imperial capital. So this is what I mean by manipulative. Like, he ends up making, like he, like, takes care of her. She's, like, in the hotel. Like, if you end up in a hotel with Keyaru, like, it's basically like ending up in a casting couch room or trying out for a part in a movie with Harvey Weinstein. Like, you're guaranteed to get your cheeks clapped. Like, and that's what happens. But this is what I mean by the manipulativeness. Like, it's just like he makes Freya act like Flair. He ends up making her, like come out and say some of the stuff that's, you know, kind of true, where it's just like, oh, like, hey, like, saved my life, which technically true. Like, he didn't kill her, but and then she just, like, oh, like, well, you know, he made me see the light, and it's just like, it's so made up. But you see Keyaru has this, like, shit-eating grin in the corner, and I'm just like, you wouldn't even need to do this, because it's just like, it's kind of stupid, because it's just like, you could, he showed her 1 and 2, like, if he told her, like, to go and, like, you know, find out for herself, like, it's not hard to find, like, that stuff going on in the Imperial capital. It's actually pretty obvious. So I think it would have been more effective if she ended up, like, you know, stumbling across it herself. Because, I mean, the Empire does this shit to demi-humans all the time. So it's not like it would have been, like, a hard quest to, you know, find that the Empire is doing, like, shady shit. So it's just like, but that's not what happens. So after that, I was like, yep, she's getting her cheeks clapped 100%. I also do want to say, like, Krylette is definitely, like, best girl for sure. Like, I think she's the best looking. Sorry, Setsunu. Like, Setsunu's up there too, but it's just like I think Krylette's like the best. But obviously they she's like, oh, I want to make amends for, like, attacking you. I'm just like, okay, here we go. So, like, in the high dive, like, it didn't show anything. It shows that little scene where, like, Setsunu and Freya are, like, outside the door, like, listening on it. Like, just, like, I expected them to just, like, you know, I was like, oh god, are they gonna join in too? Like, and they're obviously wanting to be in there. That's really about all it shows in high dive. Then I went to the uncensored version. I was like, oh, like, I was like, this was completely different from what I got on high dive. Like, I was like, I'm just gonna try to start watching, like, the uncensored versions first. But I do find it funny to watch, like, the high dive version, then go watch the uncensored version, because it's just like, with the high dive, it's ecchi, but with freaking the uncensored version, it's dead on. Like, it's basically dark fantasy hentai. So he ends up convincing, like, Krylette to end up helping him, which, like, go figure, that wasn't gonna be that hard. Best girl. But here's the thing, the way it ended. Keyaru is about to get some comeuppance here, because it's just like, man, like, again, I don't understand how he didn't think this wasn't gonna happen, like, with him leaving. I guess he assumed the commander was going to end up just getting executed or tortured terribly for for being framed basically. But he left the commander and Keyru's skin, and we see the ending where the Imperials, they're coming up on this village and they're like all being like, I don't know if I can't tell if the town's already been like decimated or if everyone's just been told to leave the town. You see Keyru's kind of motherly figure, like it's very specifically focuses on her, and I'm just like, oh god. I think we all know where this is going, and like as much as Keyaru, like I feel bad for what's about to happen to these people because they really don't have any part in it. It's just like Keyru's mom, like motherly figure, doesn't like deserve what's about to happen here. Like she has no part in on it. Like she'd probably be ashamed at some of the shit that Keyru's actually even done. But I'm gonna make a prediction. I think everyone knows at this point. I think the commander Leonard is gonna rape the motherly figure, and that's gonna be a little bit rough to watch. And then I think the rest of the villagers, like men, women, children, are gonna be like brutally like executed in like terrible ways. So this is like the thing. This is what I mean. Like Keyaru has stooped to their level, and it's, if you can't play the game like and not expect like it to come back to you. It's just like, you know, it's just like if you're gonna play that way. Also like you think, I guess because he thought Leonard like would be killed. It's like you think he would have like told his like stepmotherly figure to like try to go somewhere else, or like try to put something in place to like where the village would be defended. Maybe after he like freed the Ice Wolf clan, like maybe make some kind of deal like, hey, I saved your village, and like could you just go make sure that's like these villagers don't get harmed. But yeah, that is very much what is on the menu for next episode. I think we all know where it's going, and it's going to be a gut wrencher, but this series just keeps throwing punches, and I'm going to stick with it. Because, again, I do like the series overall. Just, Keyaru needs to lighten up. It's just like, look, dude, like, it's just like, man, like, you need to start treating those two like they're more than property. It kind of bothers me a little bit that he's like, oh, yeah, they're my property. I'm just like, okay, man, like, look, like, they're, like, helping you out, like, a lot. You know, it's just like, they're loyal, too. Like, it's just like, you should probably treat them a little bit better. You know, give them something else than just dicking them down all the time. But I digress. I don't want to complain too much. Again, I like the episode overall. Next episode is going to be a stomach. It's going to be a gut punch. It's going to be rough to watch. But again, like that was Keyru's misstep. Like he should have known before. Like he shouldn't have even taken that risk of leaving him alive to begin with. He should have killed him. He should have killed the commander, and he should have just left him dead, like in his own skin, because it's just like that would have ruined his reputation forever anyway, with no chance of like him trying to redeem it back. But tell me, guys, what you thought of the episode below. Are you ready for the uncomfortable disaster that is very much about to happen in the next episode? And what did you think of Krayla? Like, did you think Keyaru was a little bit manipulative with her, or did you think that, you know, it doesn't really matter in the end, that like she was, you know, always going to end up coming on his side anyways? So that's all I got for this one, guys. Let me know what you thought below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.